Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Marissa and I've dedicated this channel, Marissa Flourishes, to all things related to eating disorder recovery and getting your health and life back on track. So in this week's video, what I really want to talk about is how to cope with body changes, being in a bigger body, and learning to accept the body that is your healthy, natural weight, whatever that may be. So from my experience over the last 14 years, I have struggled immensely to find a happy place with my body. And in all honesty, even though I've often said that my eating disorder was never related to weight and fear of being fat, I think underneath the layers of food fear and lots of other things, I think there's always been a fear of gaining a lot of weight. Because when you're severely underweight, and even if you're at a so-called healthy weight, but you're still engaging in disordered eating behaviours, it can often feel like your body shouldn't change. So it feels as though if you do change your body, then the whole world will collapse. You might feel as though anything extra on your body is foreign, uncomfortable. And the actual idea of gaining weight can fill you with absolutely so much fear. And even normal people who don't have an eating disorder, gaining weight is so vilified and seen as a really bad thing. Actually, I've come to a place now of full acceptance that gaining weight is necessary. Even though I'm currently within a healthy BMI range, I know for me that my body naturally lies within a higher weight range. And I know that because my body sometimes is still a little bit cold in certain climates. I sometimes still have thoughts around food, like mental hunger. And I know that before I had an eating disorder, I used to weigh a hell of a lot more than I do now, just naturally. And that makes me so scared, and I'll tell you why that is now. So before I suffered from an eating disorder, I noticed very early on in life that my body shape was very different to a lot of my friends in school. So I hit puberty a little bit earlier, I would say, than most of my friends. And I remember during PE sessions that I would look at my legs and my arms and notice that the girls around me definitely had slimmer body types, whereas I was a little bit more athletic. I used to sprint professionally at school and nationally, so I had a lot of muscle on my legs for my age. However, I didn't see that as a positive thing. I learned very quickly in high school that to have a slimmer body was better, and it seemed that all the popular girls were very slim. So I equated slimness, popularity, and people being able to find boyfriends and things like that with being slim. And I think that's not just me. I think for a lot of us that is the case. Whether it's in high school, it might be at university, might even be at primary school. These things can happen at an early age. So I remember when I started to diet when I was about 13 to 14, which I just did in a healthy, what I thought was a healthy way, I quickly gained so many compliments from other people that, oh wow, you look great, how have you lost weight? A lot of people at school became interested in me, wanting to know how I'd lost weight. And even when it started to go into the disordered eating behaviour range, people were still fascinated with how my body was so slim. So I learned and wired my brain into thinking slimness again equals popularity and people liking me. And to be honest, I was always a bit of a loner at school. I had friends, but I was never in the popular crowd. I liked my own space. But I always kind of envied the fact that a lot of people could make friends quite easily. So I thought, oh wow, I've now lost weight and now maybe I could be like everybody else. Which in a thought process terms is a recipe for disaster, because then I quickly developed these strong links between slimness and what I thought would make me happy. But in the long run, obviously that didn't help because it made me very unhappy. So body change wise, I became really scared of gaining weight when I went into recovery, because I thought, oh, one, my identity as being the slim person goes away. I might be faced with all these horrible feelings that I relate to when I was a teenager of being not good enough, being not slim enough, being not popular enough. And even though I'm an adult and I know that's not true, I can't help but feeling that. And you might feel similar. There might be deep down a really sharp and scary fear that if you gain weight, all the control and the world you've built up around you will fall away. Now, in the last 2 years, I would say, even though I've experienced a mini lapse during that time, I've been the highest weight I ever have in my recovery. And you know what? Despite having a mini lapse, I know for a fact that despite feeling so uncomfortable at this weight, I know that it's going to make me happier, because I've experienced so much better emotions, sad emotions, but also positive emotions at this weight. And even though it's been terribly uncomfortable to notice my body getting bigger and my arms feeling a little bit more flabby or whatever you might call it, I know in my heart that it's the best thing for me and my future. For example, I am now able in this bigger body to have energy to go outside, experience nature, go out with my boyfriend, go out for meals, go out on holiday, and things I would never be able to do when I was an extremely low weight. But saying that, I was even at a healthy weight when I decided to gain more weight. And that's because I know that gaining more weight will fully allow me to be able to do the things in life that I've still restricted myself from doing. And one of those things has been entering things like a full-time job, because I know that in a slimmer body I can really struggle, because my mind's still focused around food. I still have obsessive food routines if I fall under a certain weight. So for me, body weight and gaining weight isn't just about a BMI chart. It's about getting to a weight that's going to allow you to live your life to the full. And even if your doctor or dietitian is telling you that you're currently within a healthy BMI range, but you know that you're mentally still quite poorly or have disordered thoughts around food, then we still need to give ourselves permission to still gain weight. And that is hard. So I'm going to talk about a few things that have helped me to accept my weight gain and some activities that I regularly engage in to reframe my mind from being negative about my body to being a little bit more positive. One thing that's helped is to know that some days I am not going to be in love with my body. Even though there's a lot of things around body positivity, self-care, self-love, the reality is not every day is going to be a storybook enchanted tale of my amazing magical relationship with my body. Some days it feels crap, and that's a bit blunt, but you probably know it's sometimes not the case that we wake up loving our bodies. So I've given myself permission that some days it's okay to just accept feeling a bit awful about our bodies, because eventually those awful feelings will get less. What I try to do is not look in mirrors obsessively, which I used to do. I used to always walk past any mirror and give myself a look up and down and check which angle I was at, check if my legs were gaining weight, check if, my thighs were a little bit bigger. I'd often pull at my own skin to body check without me even noticing. These are things that my boyfriend's flagged up, or my parents, other people asking me why I might be touching my arm in a certain way. So if I feel the urge to do that and I'm feeling a bit low about my body, I just think it's okay to accept that. But in the long run, I know that I want a better relationship with my body. On other days, what I try to do is just, if I have an urge that, oh my God, I can't stand my legs being this big, or I can't stand my arms feeling the way they do, or looking at them in a certain horrible way, I just think this body right now is allowing me to live. And every cell in this body is full of life. It's full of things that are giving me energy to survive, even the fat, even the things that I viewed as bad, even all the foods that I feel are unhealthy or unnecessary to eat. That is fueling my heart, my brain, my lungs, my capacity to thrive. And if I'm not okay with my body, then that's a mental issue. It's not a physical issue that I need to sort out through restriction. And in fact, what massively helps me right now is to think, I'm going to keep eating in a way that accords with how I want to live, such as going out and getting a takeaway, going out to a cafe when they're open, because they're not open now because of this world crisis, but being able to be flexible about food, having ice cream on an evening, having popcorn if I'm going to the cinema, going out for a pizza and a full pizza as well, being able to add mayonnaise to everything that I have on a sandwich, or hummus or extra cheese, being able to have a slice of cake on my birthday and every other day if I want to, being able to have chocolate every day. And you know what, health guidelines might say that's not okay to do, but that's the life that I want to lead because that's what makes me happy and able to feel normal and able to engage in life. So what I think to myself is, if I want to live that life, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat in a way that's accordance to that. And whatever my body does in the meantime, or how it looks, or whatever it weighs, that is a point that I'm going to have to accept. So if I gained another 5 stone, I still want to be able to accept my body regardless of that, because I'm still eating in a way that supports my healthy, optimal lifestyle. I know that I'll still be quite relatively active, in the future. I might walk a couple of times a day, walk the dog, do a bit of yoga, but I don't want those things to be compulsive or a need to or a must do because I'm trying to control my body weight. Nor do I actually want to go and restrict food, count calories, not allow myself 2 pieces of cake in one day because I think that's wrong, just because I'm warped around how I want my body to look and feel. In essence, bodies are uncontrollable. We all have a naturally healthy weight that our bodies genetically are happy at, and maybe we're not there yet. I know I'm not there yet. Maybe you're not there yet, even though you think you're a healthy weight. And our duty right now is to accept wherever our bodies are at, accept the fact that they may gain weight, accept the fact that they may change, but that's okay. In fact, this whole process is massively a big learning curve because bodies shouldn't be controllable. In fact, the bodies we have all throughout our lives will naturally change depending on what stage of life you're at. I remember listening to a video quite recently, someone describing how we have different bodies at different times. We might have a pregnancy body if we're going through pregnancy. We might have a happy body when we're feeling really happy in life. We might have an old person's body when we age, or a child's body, or a body that might feel stressed. And it's our duty to just accept that and just live a life that's going to make us happy and content and fulfilled. And that life doesn't necessarily have to look like eating crisp pizza and cake 50 times a day. It's not from jumping to one extreme to the other, but it's about finding a happy balance where you can fully engage in social activities, relationships, fun outside the home, creativity, and allowing your body to just go along with what your mind and heart wants to do. We can't engage our minds with the body and control it and shape it, go to the gym several times a day or compulsively walk to, create a perfect sculpture of what our mind's eye views as perfect. What we have to do is stand back, allow our hearts and minds to take control of a fulfilling life, and then our body can follow behind. And it makes me sad to think that I have spent so much of my life trying to control my body and food. I think, what a waste of life. Surely all those times that I was counting calories, stepping on a scale, pulling at my skin, I could have been enjoying time out in nature, watching films, playing out with my friends and going out to Nando's and ordering whatever the hell I wanted without fear or guilt or beating myself up afterwards. That's one thing I do regret in life. And I know we shouldn't live with regrets, but it's okay to have regrets. I regret having an eating disorder, but I accept that it's made me the person I am today. And in fact, I hope that at the end of this recovery process, I will have a better than normal, a better than average relationship with food and my body. Because the vast majority of the population is so warped around how we should treat our bodies and food. Even now, people are worried about not doing enough exercise or gaining a few pounds just because they'll be stuck inside a little bit longer while they wait for the coronavirus to, seep out the system. What we have to do now is look at ourselves internally, not externally, and say, what is my body going to thrive on right now? Is it a piece of cake? If the answer is yes, go and have that piece of cake. If your mind's hungry for a pizza, go and put a pizza in the oven. No one's going to judge you other than you. And if someone else judges you negatively, then that's not worth the time or the space. Before I wrap up this video, I also want to talk about how to cope with other people's attitudes and comments about your body. So as I've gained weight, I've noticed a lot of people commenting that I look well, you know, I might be at a healthy weight soon, isn't that brilliant? And although that comes from a good place, that can also trigger a load of thoughts about, oh my God, I'm not ill enough now, I'm not going to be able to get the help that I need. Should I fall mentally unwell if I'm in a bigger body? What do I do about that? Because other people will feel that I'm healthy. I might have comments that people might think that I'm not well enough to have an eating disorder, and that has happened on the YouTube channel that I used to have. And that's one of the reasons that I kind of gave it up, because I couldn't deal with those comments at the time. They were massively triggering. But again, this is a point of learning, because we have to learn that no matter what other people think about our bodies, that does not matter 1 ounce at all. What we have to focus on is doing what's best for us. If we have to gain another 5 or 6 stone to be happy and content and live our best life, then regardless of what someone else says, then you need to do that. It's hard and it's a bit blunt to say, but we do need to gain the weight we need, regardless of how we might feel about it or what others think. We are the main priority, and our bodies will love us back for it. In fact, the more we nourish our bodies, the more likely it is that our metabolisms will match the weight that we are at. So right now, your metabolism might be running quite slowly because you're not eating enough for your body's naturally healthy weight. But as soon as you start doing that and eating more, your metabolism will naturally match that. So then your weight will be more stable over a longer period of time. Right now, and what happened to me was, by maintaining a low weight, my metabolism naturally lowered, so I'd already gain weight on eating a very small amount of calories. And obviously we don't want that, because you're not going to gain all the nourishment you need living off a ridiculously small number of calories. We need to eat more, forget what other people think, forget nutritional guidelines, because some of these comments might come from the media or guidance that we see in a magazine or in a nutritional article. Right now we need to throw all that out the window and do what's right for you. Eat without limits, eat from a place of compassion for our future selves. And you know what? Our future selves will thank us so much. It will not regret gaining weight. Because even though we might fear gaining weight will prevent us from being able to get health if we ever relapsed, the point is we gain enough weight to fully recover, so we will never relapse. And this is a problem that I mentioned in my previous video, is that a lot of us get to a point of recovery where we get to an imaginary fence and we never jump to the other side, which is where full recovery is. We always stay just below that point. We're too afraid to go the full hog and get to the full recovery stage. So this video is my invitation to you to accept your body wherever it is, wherever it needs to go. Accept the fact that we both need to gain weight, even if you may be at a healthy weight, because there's so much of life to gain, and not just numbers on a scale. You have creativity to gain, brain space to gain, relationships to gain, and experiences to gain. And isn't that so exciting? Isn't it exciting to have a bigger box of life to look forward to than this small, horrible little content rigid space that anorexia gives you? I know in my heart that I want the bigger box. So to get in that bigger box, I need to eat more. I need to increase my calories regularly, if that is the case. And yes, it's going to be scary, but I commit to do it. So I invite you to commit to doing that too. But if you've got any thoughts about your fears around gaining weight, or any questions you'd like to ask me, or future ideas for videos you'd like me to do, then please do let me know. I have an Instagram channel called Marissa Flourishes, if you want to check that out, or message me on there. But in the meantime, I'm just going to leave you with those thoughts of what I've already discussed, and hopefully I'll make a video for you very soon. So on that note, have a great week and see you soon. Bye!